Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach and I'm going to continue with this source generator test adapter idea. I'm going to shift steps and I'm going to work on the performance thing first. I have the feeling that what I'm going to have to do is create this as a NuGet package, similar to what I did with the WebAssembly generators project, and then reference it as a local package and see if I can, and I might still have to then reference new NUnit and I think the object model assembly from that project so it can work. I don't know. I think that's what's going to have to happen, but we'll see. I was just trying too much stuff and it just wasn't ever picking up, and I'm like, screw it. I know I got it to work with WebAssembly, and that one package, I'm like, okay, I'm going to just do it that way. So first things first. Actually, first things first is I did the St. Paul bike ride yesterday, and that went well. I was happy with it. You know, I felt like the organization was okay. A lot of it was marked bike trails on either roads or side street, you know, on the side part of the street, which was nice. There's a couple sections that were really rough though. I mean, I felt like I was getting jarred for, for a little while, but overall it was pretty smooth and that was nice. There was one section, I didn't have the map on my phone, so I was just following other people and they went, because there's a lot of construction and there were some places where it said road closed, but we still went through and that was what you were supposed to do. This one said road closed. We kept going through, and about half a mile down, all of us realized, no, it was literally closed for everything. And so I had to backtrack and go. Again, it's not a race. It's just a ride. So it wasn't a big deal. But there was nobody sitting there at that spot saying, go take a left. Organizers of rides, it's the little details. You know, they had it marked. There was one section, though, where they basically said you need to follow this way, but it was getting to a point where it was mixing with another ride loop, and so the signage was really confusing as to which way you're supposed to go. And I'm just gonna say it needs to be consistent everywhere you're going. If somebody needs to take a turn somewhere, have somebody sitting there saying, or have a sign that says this is the way you go. Because if it's not, people may miss it, even if you have it on your phone. But I think from now on, I use MapMyFitness, and unfortunately it doesn't import files like common file formats. I don't know why, it just doesn't. So then I just redo it myself. I think I'm just going to take the 10 minutes to do that for every ride I do from now on and just make sure I have it on my phone. So anyway, so I was kind of tired yesterday, and I thought of doing this yesterday, but I was like, no, I'm just nearly 30-mile ride. I'm kind of toast. So all right, so let's get at this. We already have a performance project for the hard-coded one. We're going to make a one for the test adapter. Okay, so let's say 10, add new project. In this one, we're not going to be comparing it to anything. We're just simply saying how fast and how much memory does the generator take. Okay, so we'll do that. Oh, no, you're going to... Wait, no, back up. That wasn't it. Performance. There we go. Okay. Naming is important. We didn't want to redo what we had before. Okay, let's, I never cleaned this up the way I usually clean things up. Okay, and so I'll come over here. And we'll say that. Surprised they didn't. I usually have treat warnings as errors in everything I do. And I know I should have made a props file, blah, blah, blah. And that wasn't ordered, but I don't care. Here I care though. Up, there, okay. And we don't have the Lang version set here either. You know what, we're just gonna force. Where did I get that from here? Yeah, see, and then up here. Okay, but those are fine. I don't even think I will need, well, no, don't take this off. Just, well, no, I should not. Whoop. I should not need that for this one. Okay. But what I will need is this project reference here. And we don't need to reference it as like an analyzer or anything. We just simply need it to be like that. Okay. Now we're going to say discovery generator tests. Okay. Or we'll just call it generate because it's still all in one. Get rid of that, 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 that. There we go. And this will have memory diagnoser. Okay. And we'll have benchmark public. Int async of task int generate async. And now let's come over here to this one because we're going to have to steal some code from the way I used to do it, which is down here. Yes, mostly this, kind of this, sort of this. We need to do some stuff in the constructor, public generator tests. Oh, we're not going to be able to do that, are we? Because this, oh no, it is. Okay, I thought it was async in some spots, but it's not. Okay. Yep. We don't need that. The type of generator is that one, that one. Oh, we need the driver stuff. So where is that? No, I don't want the file. I want the project. I'm missing something here. Why is it not? Oh, I guess sure. I thought I had that already, but I guess I didn't. That's fine. That's okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, never mind. New my additional texts. We don't need additional texts in this. There, okay. Now, the thing we do not want to do is, what we want to do is say this dot and make this a read-only field. Okay, so we've made the driver. Now we're going to say here, this dot driver. Oh, we need the compilation. And then we want to say return output compilation syntax trees. Yeah, I mean, we got to get the count anyway. So what we could do is just something like, what is diagnostics? Is that an enumerable of diagnostics? It's an immutable array. Let's just say return diagnostics dot length. You know, I don't even think, let's just do void for one thing. There we go. Okay. That should be enough. So we got the memory diagnoser. We got that in place. This, are we in release? Yes, we are. Let's come over here to program. Let's just say benchmark runner dot run that. No, that. All right. Make sure that is my startup. And now I'm going to take a break, let this run, and we will see what it says. So I'll be back in a minute. Now, one thing also to keep in mind before I start this is the combination of generating the discoverer and the executor. For my previous tests, I found that you get a fairly decent, if I bring those results up again, I think I got them here in a results MD file, which I'll make one for this one as well, is that for the discoverer, you save both time and allocation. For the executor, it really didn't save much in terms of time. It saved, though, on memory. Okay, so we'll just see what this gives us, and then I will report the results. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, and as you see the results on the screen, that's how much time it takes, and that's how much memory it allocated by doing that. So again, I'm assuming that this is all what you do. Now the driver itself, is that does that take time for that to actually happen? I don't know. I would assume though that the compilation is something you would have all the time. The driver itself, yes, you're allocating more of this, but I'm almost wondering if what happens is this gets loaded and then bound, and you keep this driver around, and then you just keep running it and running it and running it all over the time to generate new stuff. So assuming that this is actually running the way it should be, which I would assume it is, I just realized something. It could be having some issues, because what I just realized is that if I come into the test for the test adapter, what are things that I needed to load? I needed to, in the test assistance, well, this is automatically going to be there, and unit and the object model. Those also need to be loaded. So you know what? Now that I think about it, well, we definitely need to load more. Okay. Must be a Monday. I feel like my game's off. We're going to want to get end unit loaded in. Okay. Maybe it'll give me the install package. Yes. And then we're also going to want this loaded in as well. Didn't you? Now you've finally decided to do all the things. Okay. Now what I want to do here too is let's make this block body, and we're not going to do that here. We're going to do this. We're just going to say var driver that, and we're going to say driver run. But the thing is, I want from WebAssembly, we're actually, no, not that. We're going to come over here and say this dot. Okay. And then we're going to come to the test generate. No, let's clear everything out because I want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing. We're going to comment this out, and we're going to say new generator tests. Okay. Generate. Which you're going to go into here, and we're going to set this to debug. Okay. And then we're going to put a breakpoint here, and let's just run, because I want to see what the output looks like and make sure that we're not screwing it up. Okay, so we do that. And we do that. What does output compilation look like? Should have syntax trees in here, right? We don't have any syntax tree. We don't have any diagnostics either, which is interesting. Oh, that's a, yeah, I'm wrong. That's an enumerable. It's not going to do anything until we actually do this. So let's do that. I forgot. I'm an idiot. Yeah. Of course it's not going to generate anything because I didn't give it any code to generate against. So now we're going to have to do another switch to a project here. Come on, file. We want to go to partially applied because that still hasn't been updated. Okay. And we're going to come into the generator tests here all the way down. And we want the source. Where does the source come in? Well, how did this even work in the first place? Compilation. Oh, because in WebAssembly it doesn't use it. You know, I'm glad I'm going through all this because we're going to say var source is equal to. Okay. And then we're going to say compilation. There we go. Say references and then options. We don't have to qualify everything. Okay. That really matters. Okay, now we're going to come back to a simple test. I feel like a moron. Okay. And we're going to put that up here. Now let's see what our number, or at least make sure this is doing the right thing. Which I was thinking before, I should have done this first. When you do performance tests, is make sure it's actually doing what you think it should be doing, and I did not do that, which is all sorts of wrong. Okay, so now looks like we got an executor, and it looks like we got a discoverer. The diagnostics is 0. Okay, that also took some time, so this is going to be interesting now. Again, glad I did this because this is what it should have done. Okay, uncomment, comment, run it again, and I bet the numbers are going to be higher. I bet they're going to be higher. We shall see. So give me a minute, and I'll be right back. Well, this just got a little spicier. If you define benchmarks referencing non-optimized and unit framework. If you don't own this, you can disable this policy by using config with options. Well, we're going to have to do that. Is there a with config? New configuration? Config? Benchmark config? I don't know. Well, this is not helpful. It says run it with config with options. Where? Benchmark.net config with options. So I don't get it. Object style config or the fluent style config. So, okay, run benchmarks. So, wait, let's keep this up here because I don't want to lose that. Okay. And then we say manual config. Okay. Create. Okay, but create default config default config instance with options. Okay, I think if it's, okay, this runs great. If it doesn't, I'll come back and talk about what's still failing. So I'll be back in a minute, I hope. All right, it's unfortunate. It went up to basically almost 1 millisecond, which again, if you go back here to what this is nano, this is micro. So did we actually gain anything by doing this? No. I argue to say we almost made it worse. Okay. That's assuming again that you do these once a piece. Now, one thing that I said is I thought the driver, we're going to make that again, this dot. Okay. And then this dot. And then that. And then that. Okay. Because this is what I'm really trying to drive at as the run generators. Okay. This run generator tests with driver creation and execution. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is say generator tests with driver execution only. I don't think this is really going to make that big of a difference, but I'm going to run this and just see what this does, and then we'll close out the episode. So I'll be back in a minute again. Okay, it did make a slight bit of difference in the meantime. It actually made it almost 100 microseconds faster. That's assuming, though, that the way the drivers are made is that they're once and done. In other words, if I reference a project that has a driver in it, Visual Studio or any other tool is going to load that, keep that generator in place, which I'm thinking it does, because if I've ever changed a generator, it doesn't show up in a project referencing it. It basically binds to it. So assuming this is what it does, this is making me believe that you really don't gain much of anything from doing this. If anything, you're probably making it worse. Which sounds like a downer. It kind of is. But if I think about source generators, their benefit is if you're generating something once, and then you're going to reuse that over and over and over and over and over again when the application runs. For something like a Test Explorer, there's parts of the Test Explorer, especially with discovery, that I think there's like eventing and stuff that could potentially benefit from this, and that may be called more than once. I don't know. Arguably, that's one thing too, is I've been reading about some interfaces or some things that are coming in the next version of source generators where you can do like incrementally build, or you can know like that you can basically say, I only want to build at build time. For something like the executor, that may be exactly what you want. For something like the discoverer, that may be exactly what you want. Okay. And there may be things that I can do to optimize what I'm currently doing in the source generator that I'm, that I've missed and that I would probably want to do. That's definitely possible. So I don't want to just dismiss this either. So, maybe I do some more work in this experimental thing to see what can I do to reduce the allocations that are being done in the source generation part. Okay. So I don't want to say all is not lost, but I was thinking about this before and saying this might not be ideal for source generator. Okay. Because again, source generators, I think the offset and doing the generation, because you have to spend some time and memory to do that, that should be offset by what you're saving at runtime if you're doing repeated invocations and executions of that code. In this case, I don't think that's going to be quite the case. So, but I'm going to still keep doing this. I want to eventually, I still want to do that point of getting the test adapter with the source generator running with .NET Test and Visual Studio Test Explorer. Then I will publicize everything. And, and of course, with performance, I'm still going to consider what could I possibly do that would be better. One thing I might look at is just say, put in a dummy generator that does squat. And like say, that is the lowest bar that you could possibly hit. It doesn't do any output. It doesn't do any diagnostics. It basically no ops those calls. And say, that is the lowest you're going to get. So I'm probably going to do that off camera from this one. You know what though? No. I'm going to do one more thing. Okay. Which is going to sound really, really stupid, but that's okay. And I don't even need to do it in here. I can say, we know we want to have something like this. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is have I don't want to say dummy generator. I feel bad if I call it a dummy. Do nothing generator there. I feel slightly better calling it that. Okay. Do nothing generator. This should all be here. Okay, and we'll do that. And then we'll say implement, except these are going to do nothing. Okay. You can't possibly get any simpler than a do nothing generator. Okay. And now we're going to come into here and we're going to say, we're going to call this the generator driver. Okay. Thank you. And now we're going to make a do nothing driver. Except this one is going to take our do nothing generator. And now we're going to we're not going to baseline them because it's do nothing. This is going to be our do nothing driver. I think this should work. If it doesn't, I'll come back and tell you why I did it. But we're going to run this, see what happens, and see if there's any difference. So we'll be back with the results. Okay, to cap this episode off, you can see, and this should not be surprising, that this might be surprising. You should see that the generate do nothing, you're always going to, I shouldn't say always, because this is relative to every machine, and this is assuming that this is the way it works, blah, blah, blah. You always put those caveats in there. But putting in a generator that does nothing, it takes 3 microseconds and only 1 kilobyte of memory allocated. But look at the results now for generate itself. Running it with both of these in place, it's only taking 132 microseconds now to run, and it's only allocating 41K. Okay, that was a little surprising when I saw that number. I'm like, I don't exactly know why it's doing that. And I'm also getting the Gen 1 and Gen 0 stories. So I don't know, maybe it helps to always have a method that you're comparing against and you don't just run it by itself. I don't know. But yeah, that was quite interesting. And again, this is generator and do nothing generator. And that in and of itself made this one run slightly faster. Do the Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why that just happened. But that's actually curious because if I now compare it to the results I had before, where this was 38 microseconds and this is now 132, at least that's starting to get, it's, a little bit in the ballpark. And the other thing to keep in mind is that if this was only like 5 tests, what would happen if I suddenly increased this to 500 or 1,000 or 5,000 tests? What would the difference then be between these two? Yeah. And again, assuming a reflection type of approach to do this. So yeah, this doesn't mean it's all for nothing. Okay. And that's, 976, 56K of memory. We're at 41 plus 445, 46. So you're actually still saving something on memory if you want to take the total time. So again, this is a little fluffy and it's probably not entirely correct, but it's been fun to do this. Next episode, I will actually move towards trying to get this test adapter to work with .NET Test and VS Test Explorer. So that's all for this episode. Thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.